Welcome into the BoxOut podcast. I'm your host, Dan Davis II. Today we will be discussing UFC 281's main event, Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira for the middleweight division. Today, joining with me is Trey Parkman. He's a two-time combatives champion of the Big Red One at Fort Riley, Kansas. He's also a sergeant in the United States Army. How you doing, Trey?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. What were your expectations of this fight?
My expectations were it to be a mental and a physical warfare. A real intense battle, which it was. I expected Alex to lose to Israel, unfortunately, but that didn't happen. But I expected it to be full with emotions and tension, and it was everything I expected it would be.
Okay. How does the history of this rivalry affect the fight?
Oh well, Alex is coming up on a two win streak over Israel. In the prior kickboxing championship they were in like 5 years ago. So that coming up to the fight, with that in the background and the hype and everybody was just kind of waiting on the downfall, so to speak, or the upset, so to speak. That played a lot into it. Like I said, they came from a different organization where it was more kickboxing. They wore gloves. They wasn't able to do any takedowns or wrestling, anything like that. So that was different also in the aspect of UFC. They have more options to take them down, use more wrestling, which Israel did do in the fight. And the gloves are different. The gloves are way lighter in the UFC than it was at the kickboxing tournament they're in, or organization.
Okay. How does Pereira's fighting style lead to his win against Adesanya?
Man, it was well, they had a similar fighting style, which is Israel is accustomed to. It really probably wasn't a style that made Alex really a successor in his match. It was more of his power. You know, he's known for KOing, knocking people out since he's been in the UFC. He's been on a 5, now 6 fight KO streak. Wow. So everybody was noted that he had a lot of power. He's a big guy, 6'4". He probably walks around at 215 to 220. Just to lose weight to get to that 185 weight class, and to kind of gain some of the weight back prior to fight day, and then still have that strength and that power to knock people out. I think that was what helped a lot in his win.
So how does Pereira drop that much weight that quickly before a fight?
Oh, well, the fight, they have months and months to really train and drop that weight. Not saying that's the easy thing to do. It really is hard. But he's able, like I said, with the training, cardio, diet, and then water cuts. I guess prior that same day prior to weigh-ins, you're able to actually lose that water weight and make weight, what fighters do. But on that same token, the time you have between after weigh-ins to that the actual fight, fighters have the ability to gain some of that weight back. So I think at that fight, it was rumored he was around probably 210 to 215 coming into that fight. So yeah, he gained quite a lot of mass for that fight.
Wow. What are some lessons learned from this fight for Adesanya?
Lessons learned from him, man. Incorporate more wrestling into your regiment when you're training. He tried it. Like I said, he attempted to do some wrestling, and it would surprise everyone because nobody expected that fight to go to the ground, since they're both are kickboxers, right? So him doing that fight to go to the ground, since they're both are kickboxers, right? So him doing that, it was success. So now, you lost the fight, which he, not to be mean, but he lost before. But he knew what he was coming up against, right? So just to know that he, exposed kind of a weak spot in Alex's game, he held his head up high, because he actually did good during the fight with strikes. He wobbled Alex with a punch, with a jab, actually in the first round. So the guy can get hurt. He proved that to everyone. He's human just like everyone else. So also he gets that rematch. So he has that time to train and get his toolbox, more kits and stuff like that, and get build up his fight game up. So he has time. He'll be good.
How does this fight impact each of the fighters' future?
Like I said, I think Israel wants to take a little layoff, get his head back together and stuff like that. And I mean, it affects his life a lot, but not too bad because like I say he gets that rematch, so it's not like he has to restart from scratch and work his way up the ranks.
Gotcha.
So he should be good. His future should still be good. Alex's future I know is probably exploded. For him being a Brazilian and having that title and taking it home and stuff like that. I know that means a lot to them. And like I said, it's only been his sixth fight in the UFC to get that title in that time span, and the way he's gotten it through knockouts is just bigger paycheck for him, bigger payday. Obviously, he's a champion, so that his future looks bright.
What does this championship for Pereira do for the rest of the fighters in the division?
It makes it tough. Now you have a champion who has a lot of power, who's already knocked out 5 or 6 people already, including the champion. So, but on the same token, he's been exposed in the same light. Everybody knows that he can't wrestle, and there's a lot of wrestlers in that weight class as well. That's kind of like wanting to get at him. But like I said, that power, it all starts standing up, and that power is a deciding factor. And that he's a massive guy. I think him and Israel is probably the biggest in that weight class. They both are 6'4", so Alex is slightly bigger, but like I said, that whole weight class is just on notice, really.
Well, Trey, I really appreciate you joining me today. Your expertise has definitely gave us some insight on fighting and this championship.
Thank you for having me. God bless. I appreciate everything.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
Alrighty, take care.
This has been the Box Out Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Davis II. Thank you all for joining. Until next time.